campaigning against Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens dangerous. Charlie Kirk replied with a laugh, and then Owens had become bigger than Ben, and that Ben Shapiro wanted her to punch down on him, which is very funny to say about a short man like Ben Shapiro. But yeah, so Ben Shapiro was on the outs with Candace Owens. That I don't think anyone is that's going to take anyone surprise. Also on the outs with Charlie Kirk. And we also know Ben Shapiro has taken a stand against Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. Ever since Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on, he has been harshly critical of both of them. And all of this is to say, this is smart, I think, from Ben Shapiro, because I think Ben Shapiro might see the writing on the wall. He was anti-Trump. He was one of the last right-wing pundits to back Trump. He didn't do it until he realized that he had to. And I don't think he's ever liked Trump. And I think he's seeing the post-Trump future looking quite bad for the entire Republican Party. And he is distancing himself from the worst parts of it right now. And it's causing him flack. I think he's going to lose some impressions, some eyeballs in the meantime. But I do think that he's positioned himself not to leave the right. That's a little bit of a clickbaity headline here. But he's leaving the right as it currently stands. Now, Lamont, for people who don't know who you are, how about you give a little intro of yourself and then tell us what you think of Ben Shapiro.
What's going on, everybody? I'm very honored to be here with such great patriots, a black patriot and a white patriot. Where else would I want to be on a day like today when emails come out about everybody? Should we start to chant lock them up? But I'm Lamont Tyson. I have a pretty big YouTube channel, one for politics, one for movie and TV reviews. I met TJ. I thought that he was spot on in everything he says and how he breaks down how religion is corrupting politics. And they decided to keep me around. So I'm here. And I think Ben Shapiro is doing the same exact thing Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing. They see the writing on the wall. All of them know what's really in them Epstein files. And the people who know that they're not associated with it are seeing what's coming down the pike, and they're lining themselves up to step in place and take leadership to act as though they're not as crazy as the far right wing when we know better. But they see the opportunity to pick up on the grift that has been set in place by Trump and the administration, and they want to curry favor with people who claim to be in the middle that are not this far right, so that they can step up and still be the harsh dumbasses that we're used to from the Trump administration, but set aside that they're not in the Epstein files. That's what I think we're seeing going on with Republicans and MAGA.
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything like that. I think that Ben Shapiro has always kind of hedged his bets on Trump, like John was saying. Ben Shapiro's always been suspicious of him. If you want to find any right-wing critiques of Trump that are usually spot on, Ben Shapiro will have them. Now, of course, he will slob Trump's knob like every other right-winger. He will, go to bat for it. But Lamont, excellent point about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Excellent point about that, because during the shutdown, Marjorie Taylor Greene was one of the lone Republicans who said, yeah, this is wrong. The Republicans need to reverse course on this, calling out Trump by name, even to the point where Donald Trump, I saw him say, I don't know what Marjorie's doing. I don't know what kind of brand she's trying to make for herself. And it kind of mystified me at first because I couldn't figure out what was going on. But it's the only thing that makes any sense. That I just thought when you were talking, Lamont, that last time you were on the show, you and John were saying, or was it Elon? It was Elon or Epstein, something that you guys thought was a bigger thing than I did. I can't remember which one it was. But that even if the Epstein files do end up petering out and it doesn't, damage Trump like everyone hopes it will, the midterms are going to be up this time next year, and Trump is a lame duck. He's going to be, I know there's a Trump 2028 thing. He's not going to run. It's like not enough states would put him on the ballot for it to be a viable option for him to run in the first place. It would hurt the Republican Party. So they know that Trump's time is up. His time is coming. And the Republican Party is going to have to move on to a post-MAGA identity sooner rather than later. And there was a Republican in the Senate, I think, who was saying, I wish I wrote down who he was, where he said that he was going to definitely vote to release as much as he could about the Epstein files, regardless of what the White House says. And he said that I think a lot of Republicans need to keep in mind that this vote to block the Epstein files is gonna be that's gonna be in a record forever. A lot longer than Trump is going to be president. So people are gonna start flooding that way, and it's a lot easier for commentators to do it than people who are actually in office who have to get votes. What do you think, John?
Yeah, no, and I think you're right about that. I do want to harp in on one little thing you said there.
Mm-hmm.
Which was Trump was like, I don't know what brand she's trying to go for. And I think that's exactly it. Like, Republicans are trying to figure out what their brand is going to be post-Trump dominated world. Because no matter what you think of the Epstein files, of whether Trump's going to be a lame duck come the midterms, whatever you think about that, right? Even if you have the highest hopes for the Republican Party, Trump's going to be gone in a couple years. Only the most crazy zealots think that Donald Trump is going to somehow successfully run and win the presidency and retain the presidency and have it actually stay in office in 2028. And so everyone's thinking right now, hey, what happens when this guy is no longer in power? And even then, buddy, look at him talking. Look at what he looks like. He's not long for this world. If he's still kicking a decade from now, I will be shocked. So anyone who doesn't plan on dying in the next 10 years has to start thinking about what their life looks like post-Trump. And we're starting to see some answers. We're starting to see the battle lines get drawn and early positioning being taken. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, I thought she was a dumbass, DJ. I thought she was a dumbass that just hit the right grift and got there at the right time. I no longer think that. I think she actually has fucking some political chops. I think she understands, you said, the branding. She's branded. She understood I am branded as a anti-establishment rebel rouser. I can't be anti-establishment and also suck the establishment's dick. So I need to be the anti-establishment MAGA person. And I think she's positioning herself better than most of Republican Congress is right now. I have to say, I'm very impressed with her gamesmanship here. And I think Shapiro, I always expected good gamesmanship from. She's the one that I'm surprised by. What do you think, Lamont?
I told TJ a long time ago, we was debating about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I told him she might not be the sharpest tool in attack, but she knows how to curry favor with her celebrity. So she enjoys getting into back and forth with rising Democrats such as Ro Khanna, the famous one with Jasmine Crockett. And she knows that the more she gets into it with them, she becomes one of those people where any publicity turns into good publicity. And now that Trump has gone so far to a place where she comes on TV and says that she needs the ACA for her own kids, she just positioned herself in a place of almost understanding for the middle class. And then she's been coming out. We know she's an anti-Semite, but she's been coming out saying, why are we giving money to Israel when they get health care, they get free college? Just basically putting herself to be the wedge for when this administration peters out. And let's say the Epstein files don't do anything to them. TJ mentioned a couple of senators that are Republicans. One of them is my state senator, Tom Tillis, who is not going to be running. He's leaving office. And while he's leaving, he's been doing a lot of stuff against the MAGA administration. And I think they're trying to run him out. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's smart. And I think she's going to try to run for presidency in the next election.
Yeah, I will agree. Marjorie Taylor Greene was smarter than I gave her credit for. I still remember the first time I ever saw anything about Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was years ago. She did a commercial where I think she was shooting some sort of gun to blow up a car or something like that. Yep. It looked like a cartoon. And I said, oh man, no one's going to take this person seriously. Boy, was I wrong. They absolutely did. But we started this talking about Ben Shapiro. Now, I am not quite as convinced that Shapiro is going to be. I would, if I had to bet on someone's future, I would actually bet on Marjorie Taylor Greene's more than Shapiro's as far as being at the same level. And it's not because I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is smarter than Ben Shapiro. I would never say I think Ben Shapiro is infinitely smarter than she is and more politically talented. But Ben Shapiro is limited by something that will always put a ceiling on how far you go in the political game or the political commentary game, and that is having actual principles. And Ben Shapiro does. I mean, say what you want about the guy. I don't doubt for a second that when he says he thinks that this should be a Christian or a Judeo-Christian nation. Sorry, that he actually believes it. That he wears the yarmulke. I don't think he does that to virtue signal like that. But so he does have beliefs that are clashing with the growing movements on the right, like the more fascist-y movement, and everything. And it's a more populist movement. I first saw. Did you guys ever see the interview he did with Tucker Carlson, where they were talking about driverless vehicles, about autonomous vehicles, and Ben Shapiro was saying he thinks this is a great thing, and Tucker Carlson says no, driverless vehicles are bad because that's going to take away the jobs from 30% of the men of the nation. You guys remember that?
I remember it.
I vaguely remember, but I don't remember the details.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, Tucker Carlson's wrong about almost everything, but yeah, he's right that if under our current system, we're going to get better and better technology. We're going to have fewer and fewer jobs. AI, where machines are going to start taking over jobs, and fewer people are going to be able to work. And under a capitalist system, well, it's not like we can just magically have millions of jobs appear to fill these folks' positions. They're going to die. And Carlson was saying, we don't need to worship at the altar of capitalism. Yeah, we can change if the society changes. But here's another thing he said. John, I think you shared this, so I'll have to get your opinion on this. Hold on, did you? Okay, pull it up. Here we go.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. Yeah, I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up. But the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that. The history of America is you go to a place where there is opportunity. And if the opportunities are limited here and they're not changing, then you really should try to think about other places where you have better opportunities.
Now, we could make the very easy joke that it's right on brand for Ben Shapiro to say that just because you were born somewhere, because you're native to a place, that doesn't mean you have a right to live there. Maybe you should think about something else. That's very easy. I'm not going to go down that road. But I just want to start with the fact that this is right in line with conservative principles, right? Like if we're talking about your standard garden variety conservative thought, if there is a problem with, I think he says it in this interview, that if there's a problem with your environment, you could be mad at the environment or you could change your environment. That's what conservatives preach. That's not going to fly very well for young people whose lives are fucked, and they know it. When Ben Shapiro says, no, we're not going to do anything to help, I think that he's going to find himself with a smaller and smaller port. He'll still be popular on the right wing, but he's never going to reach the status that he had a few years ago. What do you think, John?
You know, it's a very interesting argument he's making because on one hand, he sounds like an asshole. like it's really hard to say, yo, bro, if you can't afford to live in America, just move to another country.
To be fair, he was talking about New York City. He was talking about cities, and that cities are too. He was talking about New York in specific, that it's too expensive to live in these cities. So, hey, just move. Has anyone moved lately? I want to add that I just moved from Indiana to Missouri at thousands of dollars, okay, just to move, and everything like that. So young people don't have the money to just move whenever they feel like it. But sorry, go ahead, John.
Yes. Okay. So I thought he was talking about the country. So
no.
So this is one of those topics where I kind of lean more what we would say right, where there is certainly a natural and efficient moving of people based on economic needs. And we have to be able to tell where that line is. But yeah, at a certain point, hey, if you can't afford to live in New York City, go live somewhere else. Like, I don't know, Philadelphia. I lived in New York. It fucking sucked. I moved to Philadelphia. Everything's cheaper here. My life is better. And you know what? If I went and lived in fucking bumfuck Alabama, it would be much, much cheaper. Luckily, I can afford not to do that. But there are definitely people who are making their lives worse by choosing to live in a place where the cost of living is just too goddamn high for them. And TJ, you're right. It's hard to move. It's expensive to move. And this is a little bit more of a complicated topic when you're talking about like grown adults with families living in a location for most of their lives and then being forced to leave that they don't have the money for whatever it is. that is where you get into problems. But I will actually say with Ben Shapiro here, I didn't realize, I thought he was talking about leaving the country. If you're talking about like, hey, yeah, no, like young person, maybe don't live in New York City. I support that 100%. There's a lot of viable places to live in this country that you can get almost everything you can get in New York City, or at least you can get everything you can get as a poor person in New York City, and still have a very happy life. So I will actually say on this matter, I kind of agree with Ben. As much as you are correct, it does not jive. It's with the current conservative ideology,
and it's like it doesn't have to be a feast or famine type of situation, right? Because I think what started the I think they were talking about Mamdani. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe they're talking about that. And Mamdani was saying it's too expensive to live in New York. There are all these things that the city requires you to do to sell food there that are unnecessary. They don't stop people from exploiting you on your rent. There's lots of ways that big government and big business takes a lot of money from the average person. And Mamdani said maybe we should do something to stop that. Everybody's like, no, fuck you. No, how about nothing? How about we let the robber barons do whatever they want, and if you don't like it, you can leave. That, like you said, that's not going to fly very well. What do you think, Lamont?
I'm in between on that, because if you were to tell my mom, who has no education, didn't get past 8th grade, had me when she was 19, to move from a place that's not that expensive and she still couldn't afford that, she would look at you side-eyed. And I think it's rich for Ben Shapiro to be telling people to do that when some people can't even afford to live where they're at, even if it's cheap. What he should be talking about is the constructs of capitalism that have gone off the rails that create why things are expensive. And why is it that minimum wage hasn't gone up since I was in high school, and I'm 45 now, but inflation and cost of living keep skyrocketing to the advantage of the people that are creating this whole mess, which is the rich, the powerful, the folks that run governments that are running amok. And they don't want Mamdani there when they claim they don't like big government or government intervening. And he's talking about getting rid of some of it, and they don't want it. He's talking about what can we do to streamline what's in place, and they don't want it. And so, if I was sitting across from Ben Shapiro, I would say, what would you do about the people who can't even afford to live anywhere, no matter what the cost is? What would you tell them? They have no education. They have nothing to fall back on. Single mom who's working 2 jobs and is trying to make it and is trying to raise a kid. That person, unless somebody helps them, can't go anywhere. And TJ talked about how he just moved from Indiana to Missouri. TJ, I just moved from Elon, North Carolina to Burlington, which is 2 miles, and that shit down there cost me $3,000.
Yeah, right.
So no, Ben, no, I get what he's saying. If you are in position to do it, maybe you're a moderate income, or a little bit better than that. But the average person with the average salary in America making $50,000, they can't afford to do it. And shout out to my favorite Flurkin, that cat. I love that cat. That's my guy. Shout out to him. I love the bow he's rocking today. That's my man right there, the Flurkin.
I love that. Yeah, I was on Lamont's show once, and Wolfie hopped on my lap, and Lamont says, "Hey, we got a Flurkin. We got a Flurkin on today's show." That was great. No, Lamont, I'm so glad that you said that about it. In the Army, I moved all the time. In the Army, if you guys in the military, you move every few years. Like if you're somewhere for more than 3 years, that's pretty lucky. But when in the Army, because it has a lot of social democratic policies in the United States military, they take care of the move for you. Like, okay, you're working for us. We told you to move. It only makes sense that we pay for the move. Now, other jobs, you may not have that luxury, or if you have no job at all, you're trying to find something better. I didn't want to mention how much it costs to move across from Indiana to Missouri, like just 1 state over, 2 states over. It was like 10 grand. I'm not joking. Like it was between the moving out of the moving trucks and the labor, and then paying for the first month of rent to the house we have now, which is, what was like $2,700 or something, and the security deposit, another $2,700. That's just getting in the door. And so, yeah, moving is insanely expensive. And Lamont, I'm so glad you mentioned that Ben Shapiro is speaking from a place of privilege, because I've always said this about Ben Shapiro, that I used to be conservative. I was conservative for up until like my mid or late 20s or something like that. But when my brain fully developed, but that Ben Shapiro, I can understand being a conservative, like conservatives that suffer from confirmation bias or selection bias, that they're survivorship bias. They're the ones who made it. They say, I worked my way up. I fought, I scribed, I saved, and I made it. Everyone I know was poor in my neighborhood, but I made it out. If I can do it, so can they. Now, that logic's pretty flawed. It doesn't make a lot of sense in a lot of ways, but I get why they think that. If I were Ben fucking Shapiro and I grew up wealthy and I happen to be just even more wealthy, even if I believe that to be true, you would never hear me saying it. You would never. Who the fuck do I think I am, having born with a silver spoon in my mouth, saying I don't get why you poor people don't just get off your asses and make something of yourselves? I don't understand. So yeah, good point there, Lamont. What do you think, John?
Yeah, no, it is embarrassing to be a born rich person.
Yes.
I completely agree with that. I get how people who made it think everyone can make it.
Yeah.
And they don't quite get that only so many people can make it. They don't quite get that part, but at least it makes sense. It is embarrassing. I was, as we often discuss on this show, was born to upper middle class
rich kid here, folks.
Right. But I'm embarrassed by that. I'm embarrassed by that. And my parents were not Ben Shapiro's parents. So I can't imagine being just fucking work harder, bro, when I was born with that much of an advantage. I just cannot fucking imagine it. I will say, I am, as I said earlier, gentrification, there is bad things about it, there's good things about it. I think that generally sometimes people describe something as gentrification when it's really just the natural movement of people. As long as you can take care of the people who are displaced, if you have systems in place, safety nets in place, that they're able to move to a different location that is just as good, if not better. That some of that has to happen in order to have economic mobility in your country. But the problem is when you take that to the extreme, when you take to if you can't afford it, just die then. That's the problem with that line of thought, which is kind of what Ben Shapiro was going down. So it's one of the places where I can see a lot of overlap with conservatives where I'm I get it. Free markets, free movement of people. I'm all for that shit. But you need to have safety nets for the people who are being displaced out of their homes through no fault of their own. It's not like the single mother of four is working any less hard and that's why she can't fucking afford her home. No, it's because of factors completely beyond her control. We should, as a society, make sure that she's okay, so her kids are okay, so that they can grow up in a stable environment and not do all of the bad things that people do when they don't. And it always is cost effective to invest in people like that. And that's where the Ben Shapiro's of the world just fucking fall apart. Is they're survival of the fittest. Well, you know what? When you get survival of the fittest, you get people who survive by any means necessary. And we don't want that.
No, it's it really bothers me. It's really funny how conservatives and right-wingers are a lot more likely to believe Darwinism is a liberal plot, that it's a fairy tale, that the origin of the species and everything Darwin wrote, it's nonsense, that evolution isn't real. But they believe in social Darwinism. They believe that, in society, if you can't hack it, we should just pretty much leave you to die. You figure it out on your own. And it's funny because why do you think human civilization exists in the first place? The only reason we bother with this whole society thing, the reason we bother building civilizations is to make sure that life is as pleasant and as fulfilling and safe for as many people as possible, even people who may be having a hard time contributing. That's why we're here, right? If we didn't want that, we could still be living in the African savannah, right? We could still just be living off the ground, living off the land and sleeping in caves. But we don't do that. We say, no, we're going to take care of people. We're going to make sure everyone can maximize their human potential and do the best they can to succeed. And I can't believe, John and Lamont, we didn't mention probably the biggest reason that Shapiro is losing support from a lot of right wingers on the far right, and that's because they're anti-Semites, right? And they right, yeah. So the Ben Shapiro, being Jewish is a strike against him for the far right. But, his ardent support for sending billions of dollars to Israel while saying, if you can't survive in the city you're born in the United States, fuck you. We need to send billions of dollars overseas. That's not going to fly very well either. So, yeah, he's going to lose a bit of support, but we'll see what we can do there. Lamont, man, we only have Lamont for like 15, 20 more minutes. It's sad. We held off on this the whole time. We wanted to get your take on the Democrats and the government shutdown. I know you've got some thoughts on this, and I haven't talked to him, so this is going to be my first exposure to Lamont's thoughts, but I got to hear
it. You held it down for 40 days. 40 days. 40 days, you were able to say, we're not capitulating and bending the knee like this is a sad episode of Game of Thrones to Trump, because we do not want people's premiums on the ACA to skyrocket. You did that for this long, only to bend the knee, you hateful 8 Democrats, for what? So that Mike Johnson can call a vote in January when after this thing was signed, he comes out and says, I'm not calling the vote. I don't understand why these Democrats keep playing this game of nice politics. I'm sorry. How many times you got to get kicked in the ass before you realize the American people are trying to move themselves back to the left because the pendulum has swung so far to the right that the equilibrium is off. And those 8 Democrats that went and done that bull job make me sick. And states that were blue had emergency funds and was already starting to give SNAP benefits to their citizens. Most states were. The states that said we're not doing that were mostly red states. Who voted for Trump mostly? Folks in the red states. Fuck around and find out is what they was getting. And you Democrats let them off the hook. And I will never forgive them for this. Marjorie Taylor Greene talked about how her insurance is going to go up. And it's a bad thing when Marjorie Taylor Greene is championing a cause that the Democratic tent pool should be championed more than 8 senators were able to do. I don't like that. I'm upset with that. These guys are always talking about we need to be in the middle. The Republicans are not playing a game in the middle. And you let us down. You let us off the hook. You just saw previous Tuesday, a lot of people came out for Mamdani, meaning they want progressive ideas. They want a populist progressive idea, and they want somebody that's going to stand up to what Trump and the administration is doing, and you fuckers cave. That's what I think about it.
Lamont, why do you think they did it?
Somebody promised them something. Like you hear them in interviews saying bull job, like, oh, my veterans needed to get their benefits. Oh, these people needed to get their benefits. No, TJ, we know better than that. Some of them got some backdoor deals. Fetterman, he's been a thorn in the Democratic side probably a month since he got in office for Pennsylvania as their senator. He's been voting with the right so much. I don't understand what's going on. I don't know if it's that stroke he had. I don't know what's going on. Tim Kaine, I've never liked him since he ran with Hillary. I don't know why the hell she picked him. He was not my choice. That woman, I can't think of her name right now because I'm so frustrated with her.
Cortez Masto?
Yes, she's a grifter. Like, I expect that from her kind of sort of because she's a grifter, but you waited for 40 days. The only thing I can say, TJ, something was promised to them via Schumer or the administration for them to cave the way that they did. And I'm sure that some of them are going to die on that hill because they're going to get some kind of golden handcuff at the end. I don't know what it is, but something caused them to fall on that hill.
What do you think, John? Like, what do you think was the reason they decided to buckle?
So I've been giving this more thought, TJ.
Yeah.
And no matter how much I think about it, I don't have an answer for you. Like, there's no reason. I've looked at all of their arguments. I've looked at everything. There is no reason other than what Lamont is saying for them to have done what they did. Like, they must have been offered something. I am 100%, like, as you can tell from how I labeled this topic on the Chiron, this is Chuck. It's got Chuck Schumer's fingerprints all fucking over. Chuck Schumer. This is. I have never been as mad at a singular politician on the Democratic side of the ticket. Besides maybe Biden, but like just pure fucking I hate you, Chuck Schumer. The fact that Chuck is going and saying, "Oh, I voted no. Look, guys, I'm a good guy. I vote." Like, go get your ass. Go to a fucking nursing home and get the fuck out of Congress. Because, oh my God, no one believes you. No one fucking believes you. And even if I believe that Chuck Schumer voted no and wanted it to be no, that is a dereliction of duty. That is a failure of leadership. That you had 8 fucking senators who, by the way, just all happen to be senators that aren't up for re-election next year to vote against you. If you're going to tell me you're the leader of the Democratic motherfucking party and you let 8 fucking senators jump ship and mutiny on you, get the fuck out. You're not fit for leadership. You weren't fit for leadership before, let's be clear, but now it's beyond clear. He's 4 points underwater with Democrats. His approval rating with Democrats is minus 4%. And he's the leader? That's not like, get the fuck out. If a fucking NFL coach had lost the locker room and 8 fucking players went, I want this guy. I disagree with what this guy's doing, and they stated it publicly, and the fans disapproved of him, and the players disapproved of him, he'd be fucking fired 3 months before all of that happened. And yet, for some reason, when it comes to the leader of the opposition party against a fascist far-right movement in this country, he just still has his fucking job. Get the fuck out of here, Chuck. Resign, motherfucker.
Yeah, that is especially infuriating that Chuck Schumer's pretending that this has nothing to do with him. I don't know why he even bothers, because no one's going to believe that, right? Like no one who pays any attention to this.
It's worse, TJ. It's worse. It is worse for him to say, I said no, and they said yes. He should just fucking own it. Own being a dickhead. Do it. Mm-hmm. This is the worst possible thing. This is why I'm so mad at you.
You're right. Yeah. If either case is bad, either he orchestrated this to tank the ambitions of his own party, or he was too inept to stop it from happening. Either way, he's not fit for the job. He needs to be replaced. And it shows that this rot goes a lot deeper than I even thought. I knew it was there, but I wouldn't have guessed it was this deep. So Lamont, I told this to John last week, that I think the reason that the Democrats ended up folding was to protect the filibuster. It's the only theory that makes any sense to me. Oh, you disagree, Lamont?
It makes a little bit of sense, but imagine if Trump was decide to do something with that. That would ruin them, because the midterms is coming, and I think it's going to be a complete blue wave. I'm sorry about that, y'all. It's going to be a complete blue wave all over again. Then Democrats are going to have this opportunity. I don't think Trump would have. I think that would have been suicide for the Republicans, simple and plain, because it would have backfired. And to add to your point, TJ, I think that there's a lot of AIPAC money involved in this too that did not want anything to happen with the ACA in the first place. Some of that same AIPAC money that funds Republicans and Democrats, like Chuck Schumer, like Hakeem Jeffries, I also think they had something to do with this too, because some of them want these premiums to go up, and some of them do not want to see more progressive ideas hold the line. And I think some of that got involved in it too, TJ.
Well, if that were the case, why would they vote for the shutdown in the first place, though? Right? Wouldn't that kind of it makes them look bad? Because what I was saying last time is that what really upsets me about this is that the American people, like all the polling show that the people said, well, this is the Republicans' fault. They control everything. That maybe they weren't even like, we know that the filibuster is a made-up Senate rule that they can circumvent anytime they feel like it. We know that. The American people probably don't even go that far. They're thinking, well, they control the Senate. They can do whatever they want. They incorrectly think that. Well, they do correctly think that. And they were blaming Trump for it. Trump's approval ratings was down in the 30%. He was calling for the end of the filibuster. the Republicans, I've never seen them. Well, Trump specifically, I've never seen Trump in a weaker position. Like they had him exactly where they wanted him. And yeah, that's why I think the filibuster thing was why. Because the only way that the government would be reopened, which is what Trump said he wanted multiple times, even going to the extent of saying he wanted the filibuster to be circumvented for this, was to do precisely that. And I don't think the Democrats want the filibuster circumvented. I think that they don't want that precedent because let's say that Trump did say we're going to get rid of it or circumvent or whatever, and it becomes acceptable for them to go around to do a carve out for filibuster for funding and everything like that. Yeah, the Republicans could pass their laws a lot quicker, which would probably backfire, and the Democrats would win next time by a bigger margin. But now they would be expected to listen to their progressive base and, I don't know, raise minimum wage. And I'm sorry, John, I'm going on with this, but when he mentioned John Fetterman, thanks, John, by the way, for giving us John Fetterman by Pennsylvania over there. But yeah, John Fetterman and the other ones, so this is what it stings so much, is that with Joe Manchin, I don't like Joe Manchin. I get it though. Like Joe Manchin is the only Democrat was the only Democrat in the entire state of West Virginia, right? He has to walk a pretty fine line. I got it. I understand that. Kirsten Sinema, not so much. I don't know why it was so important for her, but John Fetterman. I mean, if we're just going to blame the stroke, okay, that's cool. But yeah, the fact that 8 Democrats were in on this is I think it's just, it's Senate wide on the Democrat side that they want the filibuster more than they want the Republicans to circumvent it. What do you think, John?
Since you bring up John Fetterman, did you hear about the news about John Fetterman?
I heard he fell. I heard that he fell.
He's in the hospital. And you know what? I'm seeing a lot of people making jokes about this. And I just have to say, John Fetterman is not going to see your jokes about him falling flat on his face and fucking up his head on the fucking sidewalk, trying to walk like a normal person. But you know who will see it? Your friends who have survived a stroke. And they're going to laugh along with you because it's funny to make fun of terrible people when bad things happen. John Fetterman can go fuck himself. I've said this on the show before. John Fetterman, I was so when I voted for John Fetterman, TJ, I was so happy. I literally thought to myself, I've never been more happy to cast a vote for a politician.
Yeah,
he kicked the shit out of Connor Lamb. He was the progressive candidate, and goddamn, I've never been more wrong about anything in my entire goddamn. I apologize, hand up, my bad. But I do say process over results. I wouldn't necessarily change. I would change anything if knowing what I do now, but I wouldn't change the process that led me to the conclusion. But yeah, I just totally got bit in the ass on that one. But yeah, no, it is what it is, TJ. It is what it is. We're the Democrats until we have a full clean house. We I swear to God, we've been saying the Democratic Tea Party needs to happen. This needs to be the moment where everyone realizes this shit ain't gonna fly anymore. We cannot move forward as a party like this. It is broken beyond repair. And I'm not one of the people who say, hey, we need to, I like what the Working Family Party is doing. Everyone who's watching right now, if you feel the way we do, go follow, sign up, register for the Working Family Party, support that. What they do is that they put forward their own candidates and they support Democrats in elections their own candidates can't win, and do a wonderful fucking job. But I don't think a third party is going to come in here and fucking somehow beat both the Republicans and the Democrats. What we need is a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party from within, the same way the Tea Party took over the Republican Party. If those fucking Tea Party fucks could do it, we can do it too. And we're going against the most incompetent people on goddamn earth. So fuck, get Chuck Schumer out. Hakeem Jeffries, go fuck yourself too. You had a moment. You had a chance. You could have said, fuck them. Fuck Chuck Schumer. Fuck the Senate Democrats. They are wrong. How dare they? Chuck Schumer should step down. Hakeem, you had your one moment. You had your one shot for me to buy into you, and you fucking blew it. It's over for all of you. Get the fuck out of here.
I love that, John. I love that. Yeah, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, they make my blood boil, man. And speaking of terrible leaders, nothing is free except for the salvation offered by Jesus Christ, and it cost him all. Yeah, don't think much of Jesus, but I gotta dispute your comment, Joker, saying nothing is free, because a full weekend of debauchery with your mom and sister cost me absolutely nothing. I gave it up real easy. It was a fantastic time. So you may want to check on that. There are plenty of free things in this world, and they're quite enjoyable. All right. Lamont. Shit. Anything having to do with you, Lamont? I didn't ask you for any topics to discuss. I know you got to leave us pretty soon, but any big topics you discuss before you need to bounce out here?
No, I just want people to understand what John just got finished talking about with the Democrats and the tent pool that we serve. We have Zoran Mamdani, who came in with a progressive populist mandate, protocol, whatever you want to call it. And everybody was energized and engaged by what he's setting out to do. I don't understand. Well, I do understand why other Democrats didn't get behind him, because AIPAC doesn't want them to get behind Mamdani. But we need the Democrats to do those type of things for the working people. The working people are suffering. And now Trump is talking about circulating $2,000 checks. Well, what do you think that's going to do? That's going to cause inflation to go up. Once you burn through that money, you're going to be stuck with bills that are even higher, because the same rich people who got the money in the first place now get to say, since you put more money into the marketplace, we can raise the bill. And you got Trump folks running around here with their two snaggletooths thinking that this is a good thing. It's not. It's fucking not a good thing. Learn, people. As much as you love to read the fucking Bible, how about you read some economy books? How about you read some books on how consumer works? How about you read some books on how capitalism works in a country that also has socialism? The two are supposed to balance themselves out. And as of the last 20 years, capitalism has been run amok and socialism has been torn apart. That's my final thoughts, TJ.
All right. Well, speaking of tearing things apart, I got a comment from John Golf here saying, TJ is clearly gay. Why is he talking about someone's mom? Now, John, I am not gay. I got to clear that up that I'm not gay, although I have had sex with a man one time. Coincidentally, it was your dad. And that was now... And listen, I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed myself. I mean, your dad's face looked like a Cinnabon by the time I was finished. It was a good time. But he really... I had no idea a man could be that flexible. It was incredible. But I want you to get a message to that guy. Tell him to stop calling me. He keeps leaving these pathetic messages about how he wants to see me again and how his son John is a colossal failure and he's really embarrassed about him. So just deliver that message to him for me, and I'd appreciate that. All right, Lamont, thanks so much for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. We'll have to catch you next time.
Look, thank you guys, man. Anytime you need a third wheel, I'm happy to be a peg in this third wheel of a great show that you guys call The Left Wing. It's been an honor. You guys keep following these great gentlemen. They put out great work. They got great energy. John, I'll say this to you and then I'll go. We need more people like you who was raised in middle class or upper class environment, because what you do, you speak out for people who haven't got that. You speak out for equality. You speak out for wanting everybody to be able to achieve that. And it's better heard from someone like you who grew up. I'm not saying you're rich, but you grew up with situations that was a little better than those who are poor, and you're still showing sympathy for others. That's what we need more of. So, John, be proud of how you got raised and keep letting people know that even though you was raised like that, you understand the plight and you're here to support them. And I'm out of here, fellas.
There's nothing that us upper middle class white guys need to learn more than that we are the important ones here. So thank you very much for that. No, I really appreciate it, Lamont. you can take the third wheel anytime.
Nice.
All right,
nice,
fellas, man. I appreciate y'all.
Later, Mont. John, you actually, I saw you sent me. Oh, by the way, John, loving the orientation you have here for the vertical view. I'm sorry, the horizontal view. Because I never said this. I never liked the old one, or like the way it was too small. It was that I have bad eyes and I'm old, and so it was just hard for me to see sometimes. This is great, and it looks really good in the vertical one as well. So yeah, hats off on that.
I'm figuring this out today.
That was great.
It took me like twice as long to do every single one of these now.
Oh,
that's okay. It works better. We got a lot of viewers right now, way more than we usually do because of this.
Yeah, a lot more. Yeah. By the way, I don't see their feed on TikTok. I went to TikTok to try to find it.
I shut it down. The audio wasn't working, so we're.
Oh, okay.
Maybe next time we'll figure it out. But definitely, if you guys are watching right now, we go live every Tuesday and Thursday at 6:35 EST. This is our standard Thursday show where we bring guests on. We do topics. Tuesday is our Q&A show, so definitely join us on Tuesday, and we'll be directly, answering your guys' questions on the live stream. TJ, I know we want to talk about. We kind of talked about a lot. But anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about what Lamont said. Kind of reminded me of this, but you sent me a video right before the show started, I think, and it was saying that. It was like men. Do we need more leftist men? That's kind of been our mantra the entire time, right? Did you send me that?
Yes, I did. It was a guest who will be on the show.
Oh, cool.
Did you want to say something about it? Should we play it?
No. Well, I just thought, yes, I agree with that. And we haven't actually mentioned that in a long time, I think. And I'm glad that we're going to be having someone going. No, I thought the guy you sent said that white men shouldn't wear red hats with white letters on it. I thought that's what, maybe it was a different one I saw. But when I saw that too, I said, well, I would include white women too. Because let me tell you something, John. I am sick and tired of people infantilizing the wives, the girlfriends, the female significant others of right wingers. I've seen this for years where they'll say, wow, I feel really bad for Melania Trump. What the fuck for? Like, why? I feel bad for Melania Trump for one reason, in that she probably married Donald Trump thinking he was going to die soon and she'd get a bunch of money. That's it. Like, because she never would have dreamed that this guy would live forever and become president of the United States twice. She probably never guessed that. But I'm not going to assume that she's a decent human being. Katie Miller, before she opened her mouth, everyone's like, wow, it's really bad. I can't, or they'll tell women, if you're a woman and your boyfriend is a racist right winger, it's like, okay, well, she's probably a racist too. Okay, most white women ended up voting for Trump anyway, so why give them the benefit of the doubt? It just bugs me.
I will say,
yeah, it's absurd.
I have a white woman who is very close to me, who's in a significant relationship with a blazing Republican, and I don't know what to do about TJ, because I know she isn't, but I'm like, you're supporting this shit.
How Republican is he?
I don't know what you want me to think of you, but if that's not a deal breaker in your relationship, what fucking values do you share? I don't, again, like, if you're just like someone, neither of you pay attention to politics, he votes whatever, you vote whatever, like whatever, but like when it's the blazing fucking conservatives that are posting shit on fucking line, fucking sucking Charlie Kirk's dick and shit, like, I'm just like, what's wrong with you? Break up with my guy. What, you want to fucking live the rest of your life with this guy? No, like, break up with your fucking Republican boyfriend right fucking now, because we ain't gonna have sympathy for you. We're not.
No, well, listen, I mean, I think you know the answer to this, John. It's like, she probably holds a lot of these opinions too. It doesn't make any sense, right? This is what, like, conservatives will always whine and complain. So, oh wow, so you're going to ruin a friendship over politics? Listen. At a certain point, and that point comes pretty quickly, politics becomes about your values. It becomes about your morality, like what you find important on how human beings should be treated and what kind of life we expect to live. And like, yeah, if our values are misaligned, then why would, if you genuinely think that the left wingers and the Democrats in your family are groomers and child predators, why would you want to be their friend? That's kind of weird on you, actually, that you think that about them. And it's like, why won't they be my friend? I can't believe they're splitting up over politics. So yeah, it actually makes a lot of sense. But we take this stuff seriously, and I don't know, to a lot of Republicans, they treat it like a football game. Like, all right, that's it. We're the red team. The red team's gonna win. We love talking shit to the blue team. It doesn't really matter, especially with Trump folks. With Trump folks more than anybody else, because you've seen the stats on this. The less you actually pay attention to politics, the more that you like Trump. The less educated you are, the more you like Trump. Those are just facts. I'm sorry that the dumber you are, the more likely you are to support Donald Trump. And it makes perfect sense because Donald Trump is pretty dumb himself. But yeah, I don't know why people can't seem to figure that out, that when you have values that are deeply important to you and that you want life to reflect those values, if someone doesn't share in that vision, yeah, maybe you're best off not hanging out with them. But that's all I got to you.
It reminds me of something that I forget which one of them, but Trey Parker or Matt Stone said, because like they were asked about why politics is playing such a major role in South Park now. And South Park has always been political. They've always hit on topics, but this season of South Park is entirely political. It's all about fucking politics. And their answer was, well, South Park is a show about pop culture, and politics is pop culture now. Like, it is part of our cultural identity which one of these teams we're on. It's not just about some minor disagreements on what tax rates are. It's major personal investment in what's going on in the political world. And there's a lot of people who don't really give a shit, don't follow it or whatever. But like, there's a lot of people that fucking do. There's a lot of people who treat politics like pop culture now. And if, they're treating politics like pop culture and they're getting involved and they're getting invested and they're coming to the conclusion of, the red team, the team that is currently laying cover for the fucking giant pedophile ring, that's my team. The team that says things like just today, I think it was Sean Duffy, transportation secretary. Did you see what he said today?
Oh, what did he say? No, I didn't see anything about that.
He said, let me see if I can pull this up. Because here we go. Hold on. What I'm about to show, it's one guy, but it is a fucking cabinet member, and it's something that you'll see time and time. It's something that fucking Charlie Kirk said. Whatever.
Let's go.
Young girls, get a job, advance your career. Your career is the most important thing that you have in your life. I think it's a false promise, man. I think it's a false promise. I don't think it doesn't give you happiness. It'll give you money, right? It'll give you colleagues. It might give you personal gratification, but who do you have a cup of coffee with on a Saturday morning? Who do you get to watch a sunset with? Who do you get to share a day on the lake with? Or a rainy day where you sit in your house, who do you share that with? You don't share it with your colleagues. It might be fun when you're 34 years old and you don't have to deal with 4 kids crying at home and changing diapers and taking someone to soccer practice. That might seem fun, but in the end, those colleagues, that corporation, they're not going to be with you at the end. They're not going to go on vacation with you. They're not going to have a cup of coffee with you on Sunday morning. It is the people that you put around you, which is your family. I think that is the most important. And I think starting young is important. Have kids. And again, it's not easy, right? It's hard.
Mm-hmm. And this is the shit that they fucking say. And, to the people who are like, oh, that's actually pretty good advice, put your family before your career. Yeah, I totally agree with you. But why is he just directing that at the girls, bro?
Yeah,
why is he just directing it at the girls? Why does it sound so much like what all the fucking misogynistic asshole villains in every fucking movie that we all agreed were always bad? Why is it the same shit that they fucking say? Why? And if someone agrees with that, if you're dating a guy that agrees with that, well, you know what? You know what kind of husband he's going to turn out to be? He's going to turn out to be one of the husbands in those goddamn movies that you always thought was the fucking villain. Just saying.
Yeah. I actually had forgot that he was addressing it to women in the beginning. I was like, he's not totally wrong. He's not completely off on this.
No,
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, no. And if he's questioning, he's like, oh, so you think that like family is important? No, I think it is. I think it's equally important for men and women. Why the fuck are you saying that little girls need to be focused on having kids and not little boys? What the fuck's the difference, bro?
Yeah. It's this patriarchal mindset. But all right, John. Figure we close this up a couple minutes early. What about you?
Let's do it. It's been a wonderful show. Again, thank you guys all for watching, or I should say, thank you for watching this wonderful episode of The Left Wing. We have been at this for about 2 hours now, and we've had a lot of live viewers thanks to this new format change that we've done. So make sure, if you're new here, to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, do all that shit that YouTubers always tell you to do, but actually do it this time, because we go live every Tuesday and Thursday at 6:35 EST, and we love fucking chopping up in the comments, especially on Tuesdays. Make sure to be here. TJ, any final words for us?
Yeah, I was gonna end with a joke talking about clapping cheeks of that guy's dad who I was talking about before, but I think his name was John, and it would have sounded weird if I said that, you can catch me doing a live in which I'm just blowing John's dad's back out. And I was like, yeah, that's not, John's dad seems like a great guy. I don't want to give the wrong impression with that right there, but yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you all later.